The fog rolls in like a shroud, a ghostly blanket smothering the island. Alcatraz. Even the name sends chills down your spine. A desolate rock rising from the icy depths of San Francisco Bay. Gulls cry overhead, their calls echoing the loneliness of this forsaken place. This is no ordinary island. This is a place where hope goes to die. For centuries, Alcatraz has been a place of dread. Native American tribes believed it was cursed, haunted by evil spirits. They avoided the island, whispering tales of its darkness. Little did they know their whispers would one day echo the fears of America's most hardened criminals. The island's isolation, once a source of fear, would become its defining feature. A natural fortress chosen by the government to house the worst of the worst. Alcatraz was more than just a prison. It was a statement, a warning. No one escapes Alcatraz. The year was 1934. America was gripped by fear. The Great Depression had bred a new breed of criminal. Ruthless gangsters like Al Capone and George Machine Gun Kelly terrorized the nation. Existing prisons, deemed inadequate, struggled to contain them. A solution was needed, an inescapable fortress. Alcatraz, once a military prison, was chosen for this grim purpose. The old buildings were torn down, replaced with a state-of-the-art penitentiary. Concrete walls reinforced with steel. Guard towers strategically placed, offering a 360-degree view, every inch designed to crush any thought of escape. Life on the Rock, as it was known, was harsh. Inmates endured a strict routine. Silence was enforced. Communication with the outside world was limited. The guards, hand-picked for their temperament, were as tough as the prison itself. Alcatraz was designed to break the spirit, to strip away hope, to serve as a stark reminder of the consequences of a life of crime. But even in the darkest corners of Alcatraz, the human spirit flickered. A yearning for freedom, a refusal to be broken. And that yearning would lead to some of the most daring escape attempts in history. Every detail of Alcatraz was designed to thwart escape. The island's location, 1.5 miles from shore, was the first line of defense. The frigid waters of San Francisco Bay, known for their strong currents and deadly undertow, were a deterrent in themselves. Even strong swimmers would succumb to the cold and exhaustion. Within the prison walls, security was airtight. Guards patrolled constantly. Inmates were counted frequently, sometimes as often as 12 times a day. The cells, small and Spartan, offered no comfort, no privacy. Every vent, every pipe, every inch of the prison was scrutinized for potential weaknesses. Perhaps the most ingenious security feature was the cell block layout. The cells were arranged in a way that made it impossible for inmates to dig their way out without being detected. The walls were reinforced, the ground beneath layered with concrete and steel. Even the most determined tunneler wouldn't stand a chance. But the designers of Alcatraz underestimated one thing: the human spirit's boundless capacity for ingenuity and hope. The inmates, faced with this impenetrable fortress, refused to give up. They studied the routines, analyzed the weaknesses, and whispered plans under the watchful eyes of their captors. The legend of Alcatraz wasn't just about its impenetrable walls, but about the men who dared to dream of scaling them. The audacity of hope, tales of escape. Over its 29 years as a federal penitentiary, Alcatraz saw 36 escape attempts involving 14 men. Most were caught, some were shot, and a few simply vanished into the icy waters. Each attempt, whether successful or not, chipped away at the prison's aura of invincibility. There was the Battle of Alcatraz in 1946, a desperate, bloody uprising that left 2 guards and 3 inmates dead. Then, there was the case of John Paul Scott, who in 1962 used stolen grease to squeeze through a window and swam toward San Francisco. He was found hypothermic and clinging to the rocks, proving that escape was physically possible, if improbable. These attempts, though ultimately unsuccessful, fueled the whispers among inmates. They proved that the impossible could at least be attempted. They set the stage for the most daring escape plan of all, the one that would forever etch itself into Alcatraz lore, the one orchestrated by Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers. The Great Escape. A plan takes shape. Frank Morris, a cunning bank robber with an exceptional IQ, arrived on Alcatraz in 1960. He quickly grasped the prison's routines, its strengths and weaknesses. He realized that brute force wouldn't work. Escape required cunning, meticulous planning, and a healthy dose of luck. He found allies in brothers John and Clarence Anglin, skilled mechanics with a history of daring escapes. Together with another inmate, Alan West, they devised a plan so audacious, so improbable that it seemed ripped from the pages of a fiction novel. Their plan centered around the ventilation system, a weakness they discovered in their cells. Over months they used makeshift tools, spoons, sharpened metal, even a vacuum cleaner motor to widen the vents. They created papier-mâché dummies complete with human hair to fool the nightly head counts. They even fashioned makeshift life vests and a raft from raincoats and stolen materials. Their plan was incredibly risky, reliant on perfect timing and a degree of luck. But for Morris and the Anglins, it was their only shot at freedom. Into the night. June 11, 1962. The night of June 11, 1962, was shrouded in a thick fog, much like the night Alcatraz was born. Under the cover of darkness, Morris and the Anglin brothers slipped into the ventilation shafts. Alan West, delayed by a hardened grill in his vent, was forced to stay behind. The trio crawled through the narrow tunnels, emerging onto the roof of the cell block. They descended a utility corridor, cut through bars, and reached the outer wall. They used their makeshift raft and paddles to navigate the treacherous waters, disappearing into the fog and the legend of Alcatraz. The next morning, the guards discovered the empty cells, the dummy heads still in place. Panic ensued. Searchlights scanned the bay. Boats scoured the water. The escape, meticulously planned and executed, had bought the men a precious head start. But had they outsmarted Alcatraz? Or would the icy grip of the bay claim them as it had so many before? A trail gone cold. The aftermath. The official investigation concluded that Morris and the Anglin brothers drowned. The currents were too strong, the water too cold. Their bodies were never recovered, fueling speculation that lingered for decades. The FBI closed the case in 1979, but the mystery refused to die. Alcatraz, its reputation forever altered, closed its doors a year after the escape. The escape became a symbol of the enduring human spirit, the relentless pursuit of freedom, even in the face of insurmountable odds. The story of the escape, passed down through books, films, and documentaries, captured the public imagination. Was it possible that they had survived? Did the frigid waters claim them? Or did they find freedom, their laughter carried on the wind, forever taunting the ghost of Alcatraz?